What's up YouTube, Zero here, and welcome to the place where gamers, witches, wizards, and superheroes unite. The CDL is back! Tonight is week 1 of CDL. So today, I'm going to be doing my predictions for this weekend. This weekend is February 11th, today, 2021, through the weekend, February 14th. So before I get into my predictions, I do want to say that if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more CDL content. I post a bunch of Call of Duty videos and other video games, so check those out as well. I also stream a bunch of video games, so check out my Twitch. The link is in the description. Without further ado, let's get into the predictions. So the first game at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 11th, 2021 is the Rocker against the LA Thieves, and you can see my predictions on the screen. I have the Rocker winning 3-2. Let's talk about this matchup. The LA Thieves are coming off a pretty bad loss to Optic. They lost 3-0, and in 2 of the games, they just weren't in it. There was also one scrim, and I was actually watching this, where they lost 250-38 against Optic on a hard point. You did not hear me incorrectly. They got 38 points on a hard point against Optic. I know Optic is one of the better teams in the league, but you have to think that they weren't even trying. How do you only get 38 points? You can chalk a zone and capture another zone and probably get more than 38 points. So to only get 38 points really puts some questions in the back of people's minds as to how good this team is going to be. Over the last year, none of the players on this team have done really anything. You have Temp, who was on the Subliners, who did win a home series last year, but that's about it. Optic, or now the Thieves, they were Optic last season, they didn't do much last season. They came in second in a home series once, and that's about it. I know that these players are good. They're very good players, and they've done well 2-3 years ago, but that's not today. And I haven't seen anything over the past year that really gives me a ton of confidence in this team just yet. They have to prove me wrong for me to start predicting them to win. Now, I do know that in the Esports power rankings, the Thieves are ranked 5 and Rocker is ranked 6. I still think that the Thieves are a little overrated. I don't think 5 is right for them. I think they should be lower. They could prove me wrong today against the Rocker. However, I don't see it happening. The Rocker have a bunch of great players on that team. You have to remember, Priesta and Major Maniac were a part of a FaZe team last season that did damn good. And they finished in second overall in that championship league. So they also have the 2 Subliners players. 2 of the Subliners players from last season, Attach and Accuracy, who did win that one home series that Temp won. So I think I'm going to give my edge to the Rocker. I've watched scrims from both of these teams. Although these 2 teams don't seem to stream their scrims as much, so I kind of get to see them face Optic a lot because Scump streams his scrims a lot, but I've seen Rocker do better in the scrims, so I'm giving it to Rocker. The next game today on Thursday is Empire vs Surge. I don't think this requires a bunch of explanation. Seattle Surge is ranked as one of the worst teams in the league in the power rankings. They were awful last season. I know they got a bunch of different players, but Prestini is a very hot and cold player, so you don't know what you're going to get out of him, and I'm not sure that this team is going to gel well together. I haven't seen them do well in scrims. They've been getting beat up a lot in hard points, and they also lost their CDL kickoff weekend to the Gorillas. The Empire, reigning champs, got their team back and have some of the best players in the league. I don't think this is going to be too much of an issue for the Empire. The Empire take it 3-0. Now let's talk about Friday's games. Optic against Paris. Some of you are going to be thinking that I'm out of my mind saying that the Legion are going to take 2 games. Optic is one of the best teams in the league. No way to sugarcoat it. They are ranked in the top 3. I think they're ranked on Esports 3 right now. Paris is ranked closer to the bottom. But I have seen Paris do kind of well in scrims. I've seen them beat Optic a few times in scrims. Not the full scrim, but in some games. So I do think Paris is capable of taking games from Optic. However, I do think Optic is going to end up clutching up. I think Paris are going to surprise a lot of people. And I think they're going to end up taking a few from Optic. But I just don't see Optic losing this matchup. The next one on Friday, we got my team, FaZe, against the Gorillas. This is another one. Gorillas are ranked in the bottom of the league. I haven't really seen much of their scrims, but what I've seen, they haven't been very good. They did beat Seattle in the kickoff series, but it was a close match, 3-2. And if you're not blowing out Seattle, you may not be doing anything right. FaZe, they did lose to the Mutineers in the kickoff weekend, but the Mutineers are a top team. Mutineers are right now ranked number 4 in the power rankings. FaZe is ranked number 2. So losing to a team that is very close to you and also has some pretty good locations when it comes to the servers, not too bad. Gorillas, they're in LA, so they don't have very good servers. I know I haven't talked about the server a lot because I try to stay away from that. I think Atlanta, that loss to the Mutineers was a wake-up call. I just don't see the Gorillas doing much against the FaZe. I think the FaZe are going to handle them pretty easily, 3-1. All right, now on to Saturday, where we got a bunch of great games. Should be some close ones. So the first one, Gorillas against Paris. I mentioned it earlier. I think Paris is going to surprise some people. They have been doing well in scrims from what I've been seeing. I think Fire is a player to watch out for. He is an absolute monster from what I've seen, so he's going to be a nice rookie to watch throughout the season. They have some good players, Paris does. I can't say Gorillas doesn't have good players, but they haven't been good for a decent while. You have Silly and Assault, who were on a rocker team that was awful at the end of last season. You have Apathy, who was a part of a Seattle Surge team that was awful last season. You have Vivid, who was on the Gorillas, who was awful last season. You have 4 players that were on teams that were awful last season. I'm not saying it was all on them, but I'm not sure the Gorillas are going to do much this season. I don't have any faith in them, and their power rankings are close to the bottom of the league. So I don't see them doing very well. The Paris Legion, again, I think they're going to surprise some people. Fire is a great player who's up and coming rookie this season, and they have some talent on the team. So I do think they're going to take this 3-1. Now let's go down Mutineers against Ultra. I said earlier the Mutineers are ranked in the power rankings 4 right now. The Ultra are a little bit closer to the middle of the pack. I think they're right below Rocker at 7. So I think this is going to be a close matchup. The Ultra started to get it together last season, and they got pretty much their team back. So they're gelling pretty well together. They did lose to the Rocker in the kickoff weekend, but it was a pretty close series. Definitely a decent team, and I do think they're going to be able to steal some games this season against some of the bigger teams. I don't think it's going to be this game. Mutineers have some absolutely fantastic players. Neptune, a rookie, is going to turn some heads this season. Skies is an amazing AR. He is just phenomenal. I think personally, he's one of the top 3 ARs in the league. He is just dirty. You have Awakening, who is classified as a competitor in league play, so he's absolutely junk. I'm just kidding. He is a great player. Don't know why league play classified him as a competitor. Nobody knows how league play classifies players, but Awakening is a good player. And Slacked is a veteran. He's that veteran presence that the team could absolutely use and need to help carry them to the next level. And them being ranked 4th is a testament to how just good this team is. So I do think they're going to end up beating the Ultra. I think there's going to be a close matchup, though. Again, both of these two teams, they seem like they both gel well as a teams together in their respective teams. So I do think there's going to be a close matchup, but I do think the Mutineers are going to take this one. Now the next one, this is going to be a shock to some people. This is my upset call of the weekend. I think the Subliners are going to beat the Thieves 3-2. Now, this is the first time we're talking about the Subliners. Clayster is a veteran. He is one of the best in the league when it comes to clutching up. He's won a bunch of championships, and he's been able to mold young talent into great players. He's taken a bunch of young players and molded them into some of the best in the league. This team is a bunch of young talent. You have Mac, who was a rookie last season. You have Diamond Khan, who's a rookie this season. You have Asim, who's also a pretty young player. And then you have Clayster, the old man of this team. But he is absolutely amazing. He's done very well. I've seen some of their scrims. Some of their scrims have gone well. Some of their scrims have gone not so well. I think there was a scrim against FaZe where they allowed Simp to get on a 23 streak or something. So obviously that's not good, but FaZe is one of the best in the league. So I don't know what was happening there, but I have seen them do some good things in scrims as well, even though they got pretty beat up against Dallas in the kickoff weekend. Well, the kickoff weekend, it was a very short turnaround for this Subliners team. Unfortunately, Zuma had to retire about a week and a half before that kickoff weekend. So Diamond Khan just had to get thrown in there. Asim had been practicing with the team, but it wasn't announced that he was a part of the team till very late, close to that kickoff weekend, because there were still questions about if Hydra was going to be able to come over to the States or not. But I do think that the Subliners, they have done some decent things in scrims. I think the Subliners are going to pull the upset in this one, 3-2. Again, I'm still thinking that the Thieves are overrated. That's just my opinion. Perhaps they can prove me wrong. If they beat the Rocker and Subliners this weekend, they'll be 2-0. And maybe they'll start to prove me wrong, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But again, this is an upset pick. I'm just picking based off of what I've been reading and seeing in scrims. So let's go down to Sunday, the last few games on Sunday. We have the Royal Ravens against the Seattle Surge. Now, the Ravens are an interesting team. Why? Because they just signed Parasite to play with them in place of Zero, because Zero is still in the UK. From what I've been hearing, Parasite has been doing pretty well in scrims with the Royal Ravens. Again, from what I've seen in scrims for the Surge, they haven't been doing very well. And they also lost the CDL kickoff weekend to the Gorillas. I think this is going to be close. I don't think the Royal Ravens are an insanely good team. I think they're closer to the bottom of the pack, but so is Seattle Surge. Seattle Surge is down here. Orlando Royal Ravens are like right here. And if you talk about the top of the league, Empire and FaZe are off the screen. So anyway, I think this game is going to be close. It's nice to see Parasite was able to find his way back into the league, even though it's as a substitute right now. Hopefully he can do well enough to where he can stay in the league, because I do enjoy watching Parasite play. This team is pretty good. They did pretty well last season with a lot of these players. Again, I don't have faith in Seattle. A lot of the league doesn't have faith in Seattle, so I'm going to take London here, 3-2. This next one is these next two actually are interesting. Again, the Rocker has a very good team. You have two players who were on FaZe last season, so they're very good. You have two players who are on the Subliners who attach an accuracy, very good players as well. They combine. At first, a lot of us were thinking this may be a little bit too slow of a paced team, but they actually did well in the kickoff weekend, and they've been doing well in scrims. But again, Dallas, very good team. Champions, have some great players. The question is, are Rocker going to be able to keep up the pace with Dallas? Because Dallas does have a couple of fast players. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I do think that the Empire are going to take it 3-2 to the Rocker. I think the Rocker are going to play them pretty close, and the Rocker are going to start cementing themselves as a team to watch out for. I think they have a lot of good players. I think they're going to surprise. It's hard to surprise teams when you're ranked number 6, when your power ranking is number 6, but I do think they're going to play the Empire close. Then finally, one of the most anticipated matchups of the weekend, probably the most anticipated matchup, Atlanta FaZe against the Optic Chicago. I know some of you are going to say I'm biased, and you're absolutely right. I absolutely am biased. The power rankings actually have FaZe at number 2, and I did not have a say in these power rankings. Yeah, no, they didn't ask me. Psh, go figure. These power rankings were ranked by players, coaches, analysts, people who are deep in the league, and they put FaZe ahead of Optic. So that's something to just note. Again, I mentioned earlier, Simp went on a 23 streak against the subliners in a control. That's something to also mention. Optic recently, at first, a couple weeks ago, they were tearing up scrims. Recently, they've kind of gone downhill a little bit. Not saying that they're getting blown out, but teams are starting to figure them out a little bit and are playing them closer and beating them in a couple of games. They're not blowing teams out like I think they were a couple of weeks ago. Atlanta FaZe, I think that loss to the Mutineers may have been that wake-up call that they needed. That, hey, we're not going to walk all over teams. We actually need to focus, get in the zone, and be ready to take it to the next level. I don't think they're going to underestimate a team like Optic, and that loss to the Mutineers is probably the wake-up call they needed to kind of push them over the next level. I mean, you have to think Optic, they blew out the Thieves. They're riding high. They're riding confident. Not saying that, again, they're going to underestimate FaZe, but they're riding high. FaZe has hit a low. They lost to the Mutineers, and so now this is their, let's come back, let's show the league we mean business, and show them why everyone should fear us. And I think that's what they're going to do here. They're going to beat Optic 3-2 and kind of say, hey, we're here to stay. Y'all need to fear us again. So that is it for this weekend. Make sure you subscribe again for more CDL content. Hit that thumbs up button. Thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.